Today's guest on 2-on-1 with Mike and Mike from Poway High School, Coach John Meyers.
It's on 3, 2, and 1.
Welcome to another episode of 2-on-1. This is your host, Michael Vetrano, along with my partner in crime, Michael Torriero. Today we have the pride of Connecticut, the pride of California, one of the winningest high school coaches in the United States. That's Coach John Meyers. Welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here, you guys.
How are you?
Great to have you.
Doing great. Just finished up practice.
Coach, I think anytime I've ever talked to you, you're either on your way to practice or you just finished up practice.
That's a great life right there, for sure.
So one of the couple of things we wanted to talk to you about was obviously you have these impressive facilities, both I guess during the non-COVID times and the COVID times, and also, really understanding your program. So kind of right off the bat, can you kind of walk us through, the last, we'll say, COVID times, the last few months of what's been going on?
Yeah, for sure. So I think everything kind of started happening out here back in March, right after our state tournament. And we're in the mode at that point, the week after, starting to get ready for freestyle and Greco-Roman. So they shut everything down on us. We have a beautiful building right on our campus. It's a $2 million building that somebody donated the money. A former wrestler by the name of Doc Monday donated the money for us to build that on campus. It's 2 wrestling rooms, coaches' offices, but we were unable to use that because it was on campus. So we kind of scrambled around, and the quick fix was Zoom. We heard about this new thing that was happening, Zoom meetings. So we put together, myself and a couple of my assistants, practices weekly with our younger team, Poway Elite, and our high school guys. The kids were in their garages. We did that for maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks to keep the kids going. The next step was one of our coaches, his family owns an MMA gym. So we started working out in an MMA gym, but the problem was, with the protocols at the time, they were, you had to stay in these pods of 12 to 12 to 14. So we ended up having maybe somewhere from 5 to 8 practices a day. So we just stagger them. We bring in 12 guys, have an hour and a half practice, bring the next group in. And this is during summer. So as teachers, some of us were free to do that. So that was good. We were grateful to have that. We rented out the space, of course. We ended up running a couple camps. I had one of the biggest wrestling camps that I've ever held. We had 150 kids at it.
Yeah, your state champ camp, Coach?
That's the state champ camp. Yeah. Right. So we had 150 kids at that. We ran that at a different facility. I usually run it at our Doc Monday Center. But the end of the summer was coming, and with the start of school, we wouldn't be able to use that MMA gym. I knew that. So Stephen Neal, if you know Stephen Neal, he's a well-decorated football and wrestling.
He was a pretty good wrestler and a world champ.
Not bad. And he's got 3 Super Bowl rings as well.
Yeah,
so
not a bad athlete.
So he had mentioned he was coming to my camp, and he's an avid wrestling fan, and he lives in Poway actually, and his son is in our youth program. And at my camp one day, he mentioned to me, I kept telling him we need to find some warehouse space, something. And he said to me, I have a basketball court in my backyard. If you ever want to use it for some practices or something like that, we can always roll the mats out there. And at the time, they were coming down with the new protocols where you couldn't be inside for sports. So things were changing every week. But I remembered that at the end of the summer. That was at the beginning of July when he said that. I kept that in the back of my mind. And I've never told him this yet. But at the end of the summer, I got him to say it again. And as soon as he said it, I said, all right, let's do it. Let's build a facility. So we built a facility. And I got the idea because I was out to dinner with my wife, and we were basically eating. You couldn't be inside the restaurant at the time. We were basically eating in a tent, right? They had these little tents that were set up, and tiny little posts and things like that. And so our president, Mick Ruiz, who wrestled for me in high school and He's a big fan of wrestling also. He's the president of our Poway Wrestling Foundation. He runs a company that they do scaffolding. So I mentioned it to him. I said, why don't we put up a little tent, around there, and we're still outside. And I had no idea when I let him loose on this project. He has, all the tools and everything to put something together. That's just, this facility is amazing. So, I think Steve may have thought we'd be in here for, a couple weeks or a month or two, but we've been in here since August, so far. And it's a constant,
Wait, so you're on
of,
Steve Neal's property right now? You're on his property?
We're in his
Interesting.
backyard. Yeah,
okay. That's some backyard. Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So that's where we work out now. We brought all our mats over here. We everything's kind of Jimmy rigged up. It's safe, and it's it falls under outdoor, because it is a tent. We've got a couple holes in the, in the sides as doors, and we're getting ready for some rain here. It's tough to work out when it rains. So, we're getting ready for that. And we, every once in a while we have to pull up the mats and reset things. But I talked today about this facility and being grateful and they don't realize, I don't think they fully realize whose backyard they're in right now. It's just some big dude, that comes in once in a while and shows double legs. But the COVID has actually, I don't want to downplay the COVID or anything, but it's brought some good things to us, and I tell my kids all the time, these wrestlers and my students, that this is a time for us to get better as people, as sons and daughters and fathers and coaches. And I've learned so much about technology. I've had to change the way that I coach. These kids have had to figure out a way to get better at communicating with teachers. And there's just so many ways to get better if you can look at it the right way. And we would have never, I probably wouldn't have the relationship that we have with Steve and Neal now. And I mean, I had him in here, I think it was Monday, he's showing double legs to my team. I mean, what a great thing that I'm so grateful for, to have this guy showing technique to our guys and being around our kids, because he's just a great guy.
Fantastic.
So let me step back a little bit. So, Mike looks like he's sporting a good shirt over there. He's wearing orange. For a minute, I thought it was the Oklahoma State Cowboys, but it's not. So, Mike, why don't you talk a little bit about what you're doing there with your shirt?
Yeah, we'll bring us back to King. So I know that you just added one of your 15 coaches, John Knapp. So I'm wearing a KT Kids shirt.
Love it.
So make sure you show Coach Knapp. For those of you who don't know, KT Kids, one of the most successful clubs in the country, based out of Connecticut, and somehow he swindled Coach Knapp to move across the country. So with that being said, oh, they are. Okay.
There it is. So going back to Connecticut, you were a 3-time Connecticut Open State champ in high school. You had a record of 115-6. We have Matty Diano here, and he is the director of data and research and all things that we can get our fingers on. You're a 1985 USAW Cadet Freestyle National Champion, a 1985 Pan American Junior Freestyle silver medalist. You wrestled collegiately under Coach Robinson at the University of Minnesota. It looks like you joined Poway in 2002, and just a litany of other things. But I want to start back in Connecticut. So you're a young kid. You tell us sort of, and not to eat up a lot of time, but you found wrestling. And did you have family and you knew that what you were going to be doing now was in the cards? Or was it just kind of a journey, an unknown journey? This is, nobody's showing you anything, and you've figured out, and God's been good to you the entire way.
No, it was, the journey has been one that I had to really, really work at. I don't think I was gifted as like the greatest athlete or anything like that, but I was gifted. My father was a coach. So I had 2 older brothers who wrestled, and they were 3-sport athletes at their schools, but they wrestled a lot. And so I was kind of born into it. And I know I was on the mat 3, 4, 5 years old. I think I had my first tournament when I was 5 years old. So I was kind of ahead of the game. And I was very, very fortunate. I always knew I wanted to wrestle for the rest of my life as long as I could. I always knew I wanted to coach. It just took me some time to figure out how I was going to do that. I went some different avenues, coached at the college level, came out here to California, coached in Connecticut. I went to Minnesota, but I've been all over the place, and it's just been a process to figure out how and what level I wanted to coach at. And, around 30 years old, 20 to 30 years old, I figured out that I wanted to be a high school coach. And what better place to do it than San Diego, California?
That's fantastic.
Sounds like it.
Fantastic. I want to bring up one Long Island reference. I do know that you competed in the Bob Backlund tournament in Babylon, correct? Right? Did you win that tournament?
I did win that several times, and actually my father ran the one that was in Connecticut with Bob Backlund, and that was it. Coach Knapp and I were talking about the other day. They didn't have all the tournaments like they do now for kids, so that was a huge one back then.
Wrestling, a sport measured by technique, mental toughness, discipline, and persistence. But it also brings children with all skill levels interested in the sport in droves when there's great coaching. Team Purcell Training Center in Iowa is at the epicenter of great wrestling. And being one of the best youth clubs in the Midwest, the center has a deep understanding for community and wellness. At the top of their game, they may be in Iowa, but they have nationwide appeal and a national model for success. Run by U.S. Veterans National Champion Anthony Purcell, Purcell's vision and mission of the center is to build children from the ground up with their wellness in mind. To Purcell, it doesn't matter if the children are novice wrestlers or state champions. His goal is to build character, create a positive, nurturing, and spirited environment, and to produce respectful ambassadors in his community. The training center benefits people from all ages, ranging from the average fitness workout to mixed martial arts, specialized youth training, and self-defense. Purcell Training Center, where excellence is the standard.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about. I think you have a lot to be grateful for. Just a little bit to put in context for the folks that aren't familiar with Poway. So you guys are always. I look in the flow rankings. You're number 7, you're number 10, you're number 10, 12, 30. You're always in the top 15, 20 in the country, right? You guys are perennial contenders. You guys compete at pretty much every major tournament, whether it's Reno and others. Just to put it in terms of context, what a program is. I think you guys have over 250 wrestlers, right, from K through 12. How many coaches do you have all the way from K through 12 in terms of wrestling?
Somewhere around 16 to 20, probably.
So you have 16 to 20. And how many of them are actually full-time? In other words, they do nothing but coach wrestling.
Maybe 4.
Right. So you have 4. So how many times do you guys compete out of state during the year?
As much as possible.
During the season, I mean.
During the season, maybe 4 to 5 times, I guess. It's hard because they changed the rules on us too. So we were going to Ironman and things like that, but we can't compete in those tournaments anymore. So, we can get a lot of really good wrestling. If you take that piece out of it, of those very high level East Coast teams that are wrestling in the prep school leagues, we can get a lot of really good wrestling here in California with the Central section and Southern section. So maybe half and half, I'd say.
Yeah, I read about that. So we actually had Coach Green on recently, right? It's at Wyoming Seminary. I know you guys know each other. It's my understanding that you guys compete. California cannot compete against the Blairs and the seminaries. Is that true anymore?
That's correct. We can't do that anymore. Yeah.
Well, the other thing is, what's the objective? I know that, you took over at the helm several years ago. I know that you were a long-time assistant, and I think I know the history. Prior, Poway didn't really compete a lot in freestyle, maybe some, but obviously with your freestyle credentials, right? So, I know that just from talking to you, frequently, the goal is to beat Buchanan or beat Clovis, or is it to win that national title to freestyle level? Kind of talk to me about how you set those goals.
Yeah, everybody wants to be a state champ, especially in California. My goal, I started coaching the Poway Elite program maybe 7 years ago, something like that. And when I got a hold of that program, my message to those kids was, let's be world champions and Olympic champions. State championships are great, but we want to be world champions. And that goes for, not when I talk to the kids, not just wrestling, but everything. You're going to be a trash man. You're going to be the world champion of taking out trash. You're going to write an essay. You're going to be the world champion of writing an essay, whatever it is. And I've been telling these kids year after year after year, and I think it's starting to happen. And we had a couple Fargo champions, the last Fargo, 5 All-Americans, which had never happened at Poway before. And really cool story. Andre Gonzalez is probably our best wrestler right now. He just committed to Ohio State University. He won a state championship last year. And, we're so excited after he wins the state title. And I'm walking with him. We're walking up the tunnel not 2 minutes later. And we're so excited about the state championship. And he turns and he looks to me and he goes, well, coach, time to win a world championship. Just like that. And I have been telling him that since 4th grade. And so it was good to know it sunk in. This was no big deal to him. What's next?
Okay, so Coach, I have a couple questions for you. I mean, just another, Matty D fact here. It looks like you have a #1 wrestler in the country right now, Andre Gonzalez, and it looks like in California, just to give you guys some numbers, 23,000 participants in California wrestling in 2018, one state championship, state champion crowned.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So, yeah, it seems that way now. What language? What subject is it that you're teaching at your school? Are you in the elementary school with the kids? Are you a science teacher?
I'm at the high school level.
Okay. Are you a physical education teacher? Do you have separate duties as like an admin?
No. So I'm an RSP teacher. I teach an American Lit class to special ed kids, and then I teach 2 study hall classes right now. It switches up all the time. And then I teach our 3rd period wrestling class that we have, our PE class.
I just want to repeat that. I want to get this on camera. Your guys actually go to class for wrestling in 3rd period. So instead of going to science or math, they go to wrestling. I just want to get that on camera.
Well, they go to math and science too. But
right, but yeah. But wrestling is part of,
It's actually called advanced wrestling also.
Okay.
It's like taking an AP wrestling class.
Okay.
So, coming a little bit older in age, Coach, you're probably not wrestling as live as you used to as a young buck. And, that tends to get some introspective thought, while you're in the shower, kind of massaging old shoulders and stuff. So as you get older and you're starting to have some real significant success, I mean, not just at the local level, not even at the national level, but we're talking about a flag global world. If you were able to, dissect yourself and peel back a layer, what is it that, kind of separates you a little bit from maybe other people that are putting in the same, effort, but, maybe not seeing the same tangible results as you are? What separates you? What makes you, Mr. Meyers?
Oh, geez. I do. That's a really tough question, Mariga. Number one, I don't like to try to compare myself to other coaches or other people. And I always say, I don't know what's going on in their programs. I would love to, we have a guy, Jose Campo from Long Island.
Brentwood.
You guys know Joe Campo? And
Brentwood. Yeah.
So he's out here. He lives in Poway too. We're trying to get all the great minds of wrestling right here in Poway. And Jose now he's retired. He used to coach out here, and he gets to go to all these rooms. He comes into our room and he goes to the World Championships with the USA team, and that seems like so much fun. And I would love to sit in on some people's practices and see what they're doing and talk to them, but I'm too busy with my own program to even think about it. The only thing I would say, I don't know if this separates. I don't think I'm, extraordinary or anything, but what I try to do is number one, I try to, excuse the language, I try to work my ass off every day. My mind is always thinking about wrestling, and some of the coaches and Coach Now, he'll tell you I'm texting them at 11 o'clock at night when I come up with something, or first thing in the morning, 6 o'clock, I go in for my workout, and I'm texting these coaches like, have you done this? And what do we did this? And that's number one. I try to work as hard as I can. Number two, like I talked to you guys earlier about, I try to plan ahead all the time for the kids. I'm thinking already, with this COVID thing, I'm trying to think about April, May, and June. What are we going to do if this happens? And try to plan ahead. So you have a plan no matter what happens with your team or your program or whatever it is. And then the last thing, but probably the most important thing, and a lot of people talk about this, but I try to surround myself with number one, the best people can be around, the most inspiring people, the hardest working people, the smartest people, and the people who love wrestling the most. Those are the people that I try to surround myself with. And that can be parents, coaches, administrators, whatever it is. And so I don't know if that separates me, but that's what I try to do. And that's a really good formula. If you're working as hard as you can, and then you have a great group of people around you helping you out, I think you can go for a long time, and you can do a lot of things that you wouldn't normally be able to do by yourself.
So I have one more follow-up question, Mike. I'm sorry to cut you
Sure.
off, but it just made me want to ask you. So it seems like me and Mike were talking, and Long Island's a tough place to be because it's hard to get out of bed when you wear silk pajamas. San Diego's probably pretty similar. You have a Rolls Royce of what you're building in wrestling right now. What kind of athlete responds best to you? Are you finding it that it's what type of athlete do you have demographically, mentally, that you find is responding best to how you approach life? Because like Joe DeSena at Spartan, it seems like you're intense and you check all the boxes, cross your T's, dot your I's. So who responds best to you?
So first of all, we had, I think we mentioned, we had 97 kids on our wrestling team, right? 97 kids on a high school wrestling team in San Diego. Pretty amazing. But number one, we worked at it. I also have a football coach that's on our staff. That's great. But so out of that 97, there's 14 guys that are going to start for you, right? So we don't cut anybody. I will take any kid. I'll take any kid. You want to wrestle? You can come. Now, if you're going to come to the program, you have to do the same things that I'm doing. You have to work your ass off in the classroom, number one. Socially, number two, you have to be doing what you're supposed to be doing socially. And wrestling, when you're in here, you better be. I talked to my team today. We went almost all live today for the first time in a long time. And I told them, I don't care how many points you score. All I want is toughness, and I want to see that you're working as hard as you can. That's all I want. And it's interesting because we get kids from all different areas of Poway, and we get kids that are coming out of, waking up and coming out of a house that's worth $5-6 million. And then we're getting kids that are coming out of the trailer park and the 1-bedroom apartment, but the one thing when they get here is, this is the way sport is. Everybody's on the same playing level. Once you get here, everything's equal, and let's see who can work the hardest. And I get the most work out of all types of kids. It's not, you can't really pinpoint one type of kid or the other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, look, you're a pretty motivating guy. I mean, I know that I'm got some goosebumps. I'm shaking in my seat a little bit. So I'm sure that any 15-year-old kid is looking for organization and discipline. So they're very fortunate to be able to have you. Mike, one more thing I want to ask before you get into taking a tour with him is how many girls do you have in your program?
Not a lot. This was supposed to be the first year that we were actually going to have a girls program. I don't know why we haven't. Right now in our Poway Elite program, we probably have 5. That's our 8th grade and under group. And then at the high school level, we have 1 girl right now.
Okay.
We haven't really advertised it. We haven't gone out and tried to recruit girls. And that's something that we're working on for sure.
That's fantastic. There's a couple more things I want to talk about. One is your RTC. I mean, it's my understanding that you guys are going to be the first high school regional training center in the country. Tell me
Yeah.
about that.
So the RTC, this has been a dream of mine for about 6 or 7 years, and finally we got it pushed through. It was very difficult getting this thing pushed through, but yeah. So I believe we're the first high school, the only high school to have an RTC. It's Poway RTC. We run it a little bit differently. Our plug is that, you know, I have this visual in my head. We have a little kid on one side in the singlet. He's the dreamer. And then on the other side, you have Jordan Burroughs, right? He's the doer. And I want to bring those two together at our RTC. So we're not so much training these high level guys like they are at the colleges. I want these guys around to be able to train at our facility, have a great place to train in San Diego. But at the same time, I want them to be a model for our high school and below kids. So the first year that we did it was the year before the COVID happened. What we did was we brought athletes in, Olympic hopefuls in for a week or 2 weeks at a time. And they practiced alongside of our RTC eligible high school kids. And they went through it. So it wasn't a clinic. It was, they went through a practice with our guys. At the time, we had Todd Shavern, who's an All-American from Missouri, who wrestled for Poway. He was our head coach of it. So that's the dream. I want to bring guys in on a weekly basis and have them, we had guys, we had Alan Waters, we had Kamal Bay, we had these guys. They were working out with our high school kids, warming up with them, chatting with them after, talking to them after. So that's the goal of our regional training center. Now this year, of course, it got whammied by the COVID, but that's what we're looking to do with this regional training center.
So it's not so much as the resident athletes. It's more of kind of rotating athletes in and out to train and enjoy Poway in the sun for a week or two, and then kind of mix up.
Yes, and think about it. Every athlete we've asked has said, "Absolutely, I want to come out there."
Well, who would say no to San Diego? I mean, not many people are going to say no to San Diego.
And you should see where they stay. We give them an Airbnb right on the beach. We pick them up. We drop them off. They got to come to 2 or 3 practices a week, and they can bring their family, whatever it is, and they spend a week or two in San Diego. It's a great thing.
We do want to go into I wanted to talk about is you guys have one of the only, if not the only, standalone. Not what you just built, right? Don't you guys have a standalone? You talked about before, wrestling facility, right? Most of us go to the gym or in the basement and we find a hole in the ground. But tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the Doc Monday Wrestling Center, Doc Monday, he was a wrestler. He was a doctor in Poway. He became a fan of the program in his later years, right before he passed. He wanted to do something for wrestling. The former head coach, Wayne Branstetter and Doc Monday, they got together. They thought about doing something off campus. But then Wayne thought it'd be best if they did one right on campus. Right in the school, and so they built this beautiful facility right on our campus. And I wish I could show it to you tonight, but I'm at the other, about 2 blocks down at the other facility. Maybe some other time I'll show you the other one.
Sure.
But yeah, we're very blessed to have that place. It's got we have our own weight room. We have 2 wrestling rooms, 3 full mats in one of them, two full mats in the other room. We have bathrooms, a foyer, a back porch with weightlifting as well. It's just very, very nice.
So when do you think that the first Olympian is going to come out of your program? If you were, it looks like you have, somebody that's ranked 1 right now. I mean, you're setting lofty goals, and I have to give you, quite a compliment because, when I was a kid, the best I knew was to win a Suffolk County title and a New York State championship. No one painted the picture or the landscape any further than that. And, kudos to you and what you're doing for youth, being able to paint that picture and be able to, tell them to get on the bus that where you're going. It's generationally changing for some people. So, amazing.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Coach, did you want to take a moment to maybe walk us around? I know your facility now.
Yeah, we got our youth team here. As a Yankee fan. Okay, so I'm standing at the back of this thing. You can see the basketball court here. You can see all that scaffolding there. Mm-hmm. So we got 2 full mats with the side mats there. Mm-hmm. And we got lights in here also. So
And this is just, again, this is just a makeshift room that you guys made, for
Yeah,
post-COVID,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Right.
they came in, man. They put all this scaffolding up. We've got, even though, it is San Diego, I don't know if you can see it, but we got some little heaters up here that we ended up buying because, even though Coach Knapp is from Connecticut,
Yep.
he's already got kind of soft to the weather out here.
Yeah,
so
of course he has.
So it drops down to like 55 degrees in here, and he wants the heaters on. So
Right.
you can see Coach Knapp right there. We just tricked him into coming out here to California.
Yeah, you
from
swung with
Connecticut.
him. Yep.
Goes, yeah.
Are you still from Connecticut, or you forget that you're from Connecticut? Are you still from? Are you officially a California guy now?
Let me switch this back here. I'm a California guy here.
Okay.
I mean, I love the East Coast and where I came from and all that and my story. But when I moved out here, I knew I would never move away from San Diego.
Right. I'm not sure if Mike has a code, but I wanted to show you something here. Take a look, Coach. You see what that says right there? Southern Wrestling, Southern Connecticut Wrestling. So I still have it.
That looks like me. That's beat up.
Yeah, it's pretty. I haven't worn it in a while, but I still have it, Coach. So,
yeah, I got a jacket coming to you too.
Oh, awesome! I'm looking forward to it. I thank you for those memories, and thank you for spending time with us. And
Yeah.
I don't know if we could certainly edit this out, but is there anyone that you wanted to talk about? I know that you want to talk about the scaffolding company. Is there anything that you wanted to promote or talk about?
Yeah, just turnkey scaffolding. Our president, like I said, he owns that company. He built it from the ground up. It's probably the top scaffolding company in the world right now. They came out and did this for us, the guys that work for him, and Mick Ruiz is the owner of that, a dear friend of mine, and he's got a great story too about wrestling and got into being a jockey. But he built this facility, and so I wanted to give a shout out to TKS Scaffolding here in San Diego.
That's great. So, well, Coach, we appreciate your time. Obviously you took a lot of time. You mean a lot to me, and even on a short time together, you shaped me, and you're continuing to do so. And we follow you here from the East Coast, and we'll be looking for you when you wrestle in either Buchanan or Clovis and etc. How do we follow you guys? Don't you guys stream? Tell us about that real quick.
We do stream, but we've kind of used a few different platforms. I think the best source for our program is our Facebook page, which is Those Who Stay Will Be Champions, Poway Wrestling, and then our Instagram for Poway Wrestling. Our moms that run that thing, they do a wonderful job with keeping everything up to date.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time, and obviously I'll be talking to you soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys, and good luck out there in New York with your season too.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, it was great meeting you. Thanks for everything. It was an unbelievable, moving story. We hope to have you back on, and we'll definitely be cheering and following you from afar.
Thanks for joining 2-on-1 with Mike and Mike. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.